Hey, Bruce Reba here, author of Freedom's Quest on Amazon, Woodpecker on Kindle Vella. Just leaving the Space Center again after another wonderful day in a science fiction story. We are going to the moon. So, been talking lately about my next book, which is about communications technicians on the Space Center during the shuttle program, and also gathering up my stories from when I was a diver for the Air Force on the Eastern Test Range. And it just so happened that I talked with one of my old co-workers from the islands. Talked to Jeff, the diver, and we hadn't spoken in 10 or 15 years, but we exchanged a lot of stories and some good laughs, some good memories. And then he reminded me of a treasure hunt on Ascension Island that I had completely forgotten about. And that was pretty good. So it goes like this. William Dampier. He was an English explorer, buccaneer. I guess that's a legal pirate. And on one of his journeys in his boat, in his ship, the Roebuck, he left England to South America, Central America, South America, and then cut across the oceans around the Horn of Africa. And they think he made it to Australia. They didn't. It wasn't called Australia then. His journal is really interesting to read if you get a chance. So on the way back around to returning to England, the Roebuck sprung a leak and it sank right off of Ascension Island. And the crew was marooned for 6 weeks in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the Atlantic. So I often romanticized that Dampier hid his treasure, if he had any, because you never know who's going to pick you up. You never know who's going to come rescue you. And it might be another pirate or enemy of the current enemy, or whatever that is. So they might have buried it, and they probably did bury it. Now, whether they retrieved it or not for the trip home, who knows? But so, because we were divers, and we were always had our faces down on the bottom at Ascension, and looking at wrecks, the timbers and metal wrecks, and looking at bottles. Mainly, we were murdering lobster. That was our main function, and so there was this particular cave that we used to go to. It's a very large underwater cave. And when you dive into this cave, it was, the ceiling would be covered in lobster. And it'd be a murder fest. Well, this particular cave was off of a beach called Pan Am Beach, there on Ascension. Excuse me, I'm driving. And above the cave was a cliff, pretty steep cliff. And over the years I would look at that cliff and I would say, look at that, there's something wrong. There was 2 shallow cave indentations in the cliff, and then what looked to be a man-made wall on both caves. And this is probably 40 feet above the water and 30 feet below the top of the cliff. Man-made structure. And after years of looking at that, I was convinced that Dampier hid his treasure in those caves and walled them up. Because if you bury your treasure, I bury stuff and then I can't find it. And so if you put it on that cliff face, you'll always be able to find it. So I knew Dampier's treasure was there. So I talked to Jeff, and we decided to dig up those caves. Well, one problem is we had to rappel down the wall. So it's good to be young and stupid. So we got down to these 2 caves on the ropes and did a little exploring the first day. And son of a gun, if there wasn't a cave, a tunnel going to the surface of the cliff that you cannot see while you're up there. It wasn't. So after that, we didn't have to. No more rope work. We could. It was a little tight fit, but we could worm our way down to these 2 cliffs. So we started digging them up. We spent about a week digging these cliff floors up and tossing the dirt over the side. And we weren't getting discouraged. As a matter of fact, the opposite. I was stupid enough where I was already worrying how I was going to get the treasure back to the United States on the 141 cargo jet. Active imagination. So, but anyway, on both caves, we eventually hit a rock floor that was hollow. And both caves, there was another room underneath these floors. You know, we could bang on and hear echo, but we could not find a way to get to the next level. It would have been drag a compressor out onto that lava field and a jackhammer and jackhammer through the floor. And eventually we did just give up. No Dampier's treasure. I was laughing with Jeff as I would go play racquetball in the evening after digging for treasure, and I would show up to the racquetball court and I would be completely covered in red, brown, volcanic dirt except for my eyes, like a Welsh miner. But this final note: the roebuck. It was eventually discovered by some professional historians, divers, treasure hunters there on Ascension Island. And interestingly enough, we used to go dive out in the main harbor on this metal wreck, which was just some plates left. But you know, we'd take some blowers down there and blow around underneath this wreck, and we would find Chinese porcelain. That, you know, what the hell, you know? One guy even found a rusty flintlock one time. But so we never found any timbers, no treasure. You know, we moved on. But the professionals who came down, that's where they found the roebuck, right there where we were finding that Chinese porcelain. So that was a pretty cool story. So anyway, after Jeff and I compared a bunch of notes and some very cool stories, I got to thinking maybe there's a whole bunch of them that may not be legal to tell, and they were excellent to reminisce on, and they were kick-ass to live through. But I'm just not sure if they can ever be repeated again. Besides the one where we didn't find any treasure. But hey, Bruce Reba out.